Father, it's me, Michael. I did it. I found it. It was right where you said it would be. They were all there. They didn't recognize me at first, but then they thought I was you. And I found her. I put her back together, just like you asked me to.
For nearly 10 years, Five Nights at Freddy's fans have argued over one question. Who died first? Was it Charlie Emily, the child outside of Fredbear's, one of the missing children, or someone entirely? Because the answer to this question changes everything. It changes who possessed the animatronics first. It changed William Afton's motive, and it completely changed the timeline we've been using for years. So today, we're building the strongest case possible for the single most important death in the FNAF lore. Most people assume the first death is quite obvious. Charlie Emily, the daughter of Henry. That is also treated as the beginning of the entire story. But when you actually look at the evidence, things do get messy. Because FNAF doesn't tell its story in order. Scott Cawthon gave us fragments, minigames, newspaper clippings, phone calls, books, and any tiny details hidden across his multiple games. So instead of assuming an answer, let's investigate every major candidate. According to my research, this is the strongest and most popular theory. In FNAF 6, the security puppet minigame shows Charlie locked outside of a restaurant. The puppet tries to reach her, it gets trapped, and when it finally escapes, Charlie is already dead. Immediately after this scene, the puppet becomes haunted. That's important because this is the first clearly shown signs of possession in the entire series. Before this moment, we do not have any definitive evidence of haunted animatronics. After this moment, we do. That alone makes Charlie a strong candidate, but there's another piece of evidence. Henry describes Charlie's death as the first wound that started everything. Many fans interpret this literally because Charlie was the first victim. After Charlie dies, the timeline becomes relatively straightforward. Charlie dies, the puppet becomes possessed, William discovers possession, he kills more children, the missing children possess the animatronics, the tragedy escalates. It's clean, it's simple, and it's honestly, well, it's probably the most timeline, or the most frequent timeline people use, but there's a problem. FNAF 4 introduces the crying child, often called the bite victim. We watch him being tormented, we see Fredbear, and eventually we do see the bite of 83. Now, the child is hospitalized, he flatlines, then he dies. Now here's the key question. When did this happen relative to Charlie's death? From what I know, FNAF 4 is connected to Fredbear's Family Diner heavily, which appears to be the earliest location in the franchise. Some fans argue that the bite victim does die before Charlie, and if that's true, then the first death in the timeline is not Charlie at all. Thus, it is William's own son, which basically dramatically changed William's motivation from killing children now to losing his son. William would lose his son before any major murderers, but there's also another issue with this theory. We never do see the bite victim possess anything. Charlie's possession is explicit, the bite victim's is not. So even if he does die earlier, he may not be the first haunting after all. One of, if not the oldest theory in Five Nights at Freddy's is, what if one of the missing children did die first? In the original Five Nights at Freddy's, the newspaper clippings describe multiple children being lured away by a man in a bunny mascot costume. At first, many fans assumed that these murders were the beginning of the entire story. After all, the haunted animatronics in FNAF 1 are the core mystery. But later games complicated that idea, because the puppet appears to be involved in giving life to those children. The puppet distributes masks. The children become associated with either Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and/or Golden Freddy. That suggests the puppet already existed before the missing children possessed even the animatronics. And if the puppet is already possessed by Charlie, then Charlie's death must have happened a lot earlier. But there's one minigame that breaks almost every timeline. Midnight Motorist. A man in a purple car drives home after a rainy night. A child has escaped through a window, and a mysterious footprint appears outside. Many fans believe that this is William Afton, and many believe the rainy night connects directly to Charlie's murder. If that interpretation is correct, then Charlie dies before at least one Afton child-related event, which again pushes Charlie toward being the first major victim in the series. But the evidence is still not definite, and that's where things get interesting. So far, we do know that Charlie has the most strongest case. She has the first explicit possession, she's called the first wound by her own father, and the puppet appears to exist before the missing children are given life. But in part 2, we're going to be looking at the evidence that could completely overturn that conclusion, including the bite victim, William Afton's possible motive, and the timeline detail that almost nobody agrees on. Stay tuned.